Hey everybody. So I don't always want to post about just beer. One thing that always gets me going is a nice motivational, something to hear, something to read, something like that. So I want to put that back out to the world to hopefully get you motivated. And I'm going to talk about overcoming challenges. Um, there's always a challenge to overcome, and you have to kind of face that and overcome that to actually grow. So what can you think about to help you help you get better. First of all, think about a big challenge that's coming up, and you might be thinking, "Wow, this thing's huge. I can't do this." Something like that. But first of all, you have to stop that negative self-talk and help yourself get get better. You have to talk around that and figure out how you're going to overcome that challenge. Now, think about uh, the old analogy of how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. Then it gets easier, right? Chunks at a time. Now look back at something like that you're doing now, whether it be running, lifting weights, something at work, something like that you thought right away was like, wow, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. There's so much to look at, da da da, and look at where you're at now. Likely, you're doing what you can do, what you thought you couldn't do before, and exceeding that, right? You have to look at it that way. For instance, for sales, if my quota is this high to sell every month, I was like, wow, that's a big number. And then a few years ago, when it was this big, it was like, wow, I can do that. And then all of a sudden, I saw the numbers come in the future, like this few years down the road. I'm like, wow, that's a big number. I don't know if I can do that. You have to be able to um, look at that and say, okay, what can I do to get better to get there? Um, those challenges will come, but you have to face those challenges, figure out a way to get above them, and first of all, just to test yourself. And you don't get better unless you push yourself a little bit more every day. So figure out what you're doing now. Look what you were doing a few years ago that you would probably think, wow, I couldn't do that. But then a couple years later, we are today, you are doing that. So figure out what those things could be and figure out what you can do now 2 3 years from now, figure out how to push yourself and figure out what that next jump is going to be. Hope that helps. Have a good weekend.